And welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves, presented by JJC Athletics. I'm your host, Damian Dennis, and I'm joined by Shaun Sanderson. Jeez, I almost called you Scott for a moment.
We look a lot alike, so
No, not even that. I was in the process of uploading Danny's roster for men's basketball, and the last guy I put in was one player with the last name Scott, so that's why it was in my head. I'm like, what?
yeah, his beard's a little longer than mine.
I got to shave. We're here to talk women's basketball this week. Never mind. uh, yeah, so just cold brew Dunkin' for me this morning. But
Yeah, strawberry dragon fruit refreshers are my thing lately with the lemonade.
I bought something like that for my daughter, and she proceeded to dump it all over herself. She's 4, so
Yeah, I next time just get it for me, and I'll
okay.
I'll give her some Skittles or something.
Yeah. So obligatory coffee talk out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about your season so far. 4-2 on the year. How do you feel with kind of these first 6 games kind of out of the way? Where do you think you stand at this point?
I think we're doing pretty well. Adversity within these last few weeks, and adversity is something you don't plan for. You just actually go through it. And I think so far we've handled it well. Being 4-2, I think we're sitting pretty, if you want to say it that way. Um, the other day we had a meeting with the players, and actually it was a film session that turned into a meeting. And, they were a little bit concerned with having the low numbers and a couple injuries. But we had to remind them our goal wasn't to go undefeated for the entire year. So there's going to be some losses and up and downs. So right now we're going through it.
Yeah.
Being that we're on a little bit of rest right now, those little nicks and injuries are now healing up. So they begin to see the season in an entirely different perspective when you look at the rest time.
Yeah. In the seasons, when it comes to record, better than I think you guys were last year at this point. That was when I started here at JJC, and very up and down, both men's and women's. And, and we know how that played out.
Hmm.
This year, both teams seem to be kind of strong start.
Yeah.
Uh, Low numbers, though, we've talked about that before. You don't have much worry about that.
No, no, not at all. Right now we're playing with seven, hoping to get. Well, we will have Lovely back mid-December, so um, it's a really good number. Everybody gets pretty much the equivalent playing time, but more importantly, they're all productive.
Yeah.
Right now, everybody's in every statistical category, whether it's rebounds or scoring. Like the other day, they're focusing on Kaya. Well, this person can rebound and score just as well as she can. So it's a great, if you want to call it a problem, great problem to have.
Yeah.
And I had to remind them on their high school teams, how many players play on your particular teams? One said 5, 6, the other one said 3. Here it is, we have 7 players that can go out and score at any given
Yeah.
moment.
How do you field a team with 3 players?
Yeah, I understood it, so I saw it. I won't name the program, but
You talk a little bit. You mentioned Kaya, for example. So I was on the play-by-play call for your game on Saturday,
Mhm.
and we made note like the team you faced, Governor State. You had opened the season against them, so they were focusing heavily on Kaya, who
Mhm.
scored 32 points in that first game. This second game, she still scored. I think it was 25.
Yeah.
But they boxed her out in the first quarter and then the fourth quarter. But then the middle quarters, they leaned off of her and she
Yeah,
produced.
yeah. Early on in that game, I believe our first 4 or 5 baskets were layups, and ironically, they didn't come from her. But then when we put her on the perimeter, they didn't double team her to start the game. But we were able to score from everybody else. I believe we had 4 or 5 in double digits that
Hmm.
particular game. And Olivia stepped up with her career high in points. We always told her to look for a basket each quarter. So she really stepped up in that moment, especially with the offensive rebounding. So we have the ability to score whether you want to double, triple team Kaya or not.
Yeah.
So we can score from other areas.
Now, Tyler, who was doing the play by play, kind of leading the broadcast, he had mentioned Olivia, who's going to join after you here on Coffee with the Wolves. But, like, she was in the paint. She was putting the ball up, getting a rebound, putting it back up. Can you
Yeah.
speak just kind of to her performance so far this season, and especially in that last game on Saturday.
Yeah, she's really grown. Those same offensive rebounds, which, looking today, she's number one in the country in rebounding with 44, offensive rebounding. Um, we told her we're watching film like, Olivia, you got the rebound, go right back up. But in her heart, she doesn't want to score. She wants to get it out and let allow somebody else to score. But she's starting to realize she can score too. And this last week, I think it's come pretty easy for her. But she does have the ability to step out and shoot the perimeter jump shot as well. But she is kind of like that staple or, the person that you don't see, but you see,
Hmm.
but she's putting in work, whether it's on the court, off the court. She's kind of I want to say the glue, so to say. She just goes out there and works. She pulls up her sleeves and just goes. And sometimes I have to ask her, "Are you okay?" or "Are you okay?" And sometimes when she's not okay, she's okay.
Yeah.
But that's not okay. But yeah, she put a lot of time into her craft this summer, and I think you're starting to see the results of what she can do. And she has more. And once we get to the second semester, she's going to really, really impact what we do.
Yeah. And you mentioned kind of you're on a little bit of a break right now. Your last game was this past Saturday. You don't play again until Tuesday, the
Hmm.
26th. You know, I know the team's battling a couple injuries,
Hmm.
and then just a small roster. The rest is probably invaluable. But how are you utilizing this kind of short little break here?
Yeah, well, the last couple of days we were strictly off. They had a option. Well, they had to come in and make free throws. So, but even like today when we get back in the gym, it's going to be pretty light to start. Get them back accustomed to shooting, understanding what it takes to shoot a free throw, layup, and all those things. But we want to gradually, because we don't play until Tuesday, gradually get them back and start to run a little bit more,
Hmm.
and kind of pace ourselves. Being that former student athlete, this is a stressful time because, like today, they're lining up in my office. There's students that want to drop because they don't know if they're passing or failing, but just kind of sitting them down. So they're stressing out right now, and I understand that. But the semester is almost over. So
Hmm.
now they're thinking about, am I passing? I don't want to get a C. I don't want to get a D. I want to get an A or B. So it's a lot that goes into it, just other than the basketball. So the schedule is kind of spaced out
Yeah.
to kind of help out with that stress, but also work on some individual things to kind of get them ready for the stretch run that we have coming up next
Yeah.
year.
And actually, on that topic though, so was this kind of break by design then on your end?
Yeah, for the most part, and having the high school tournament in our gym, it gives us a breather too. So it just kind of plays into our favor. We dissected the entire schedule together as a team to let them know, hey, these are areas where you can rest. We do have a three in a row date coming up, and I want them to see and know what that feels like. Because if we're going to be playing for a championship, we have to play at least 3 days in a row,
Yeah.
possibly four.
Uh, so what are some areas of improvement you could see this team making this season? Because I know, especially with a small roster, you've been playing shorthanded a couple times due to
Hmm.
foul trouble. You had the injury to Kira last week.
Hmm.
You were expecting her, hoping she'd be back Saturday, and she wasn't. But
Yeah.
nothing major. But how do you kind of what are you looking to see improvement wise, and just kind of keeping the team disciplined and on course?
The number one, we got to cut down our turnovers. We're doing well on the rebounds, being one of the top three in the country overall. But ball movement, and not every team has a Kaya, so learning and knowing how to play with Kaya, playing that little inside out. But I still think we need to play faster than what we do. Getting Jazz back the other day, that will help out with that. And even just defensively, I think we're playing good defense with our athleticism, but being a young team, we still need to know and understand our different spots on the floor and why we do the things that we do. And having that low number, I don't get to teach while they're on the bench. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, they're on the floor playing, but a lot of their experience has to come from the actual play. So, because of that, a lot of our in or off the court teaching has to be in the classroom when we're watching film. Yeah. So, but in the long run, I think it's going to benefit them all. So I'm pretty excited about it
Yeah.
and patient at the same time too.
So, Sean, thank you for coming back to Coffee with the Wolves. Of course, we'll have you on again, but I want to ask. It's the week before Thanksgiving. I didn't realize that until literally about an hour ago.
Yeah.
It's also a week before my birthday. But what are you doing for the holiday?
Oh, spending time with family. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of the year. It's a time to kind of sit back, relax, and just you know eat that macaroni and cheese, turkey dressing,
Yep.
add on a few pounds. So definitely spending time with the family and feeding my face.
Yep. Cool.
All right.
Well, up next, we're going to have Olivia here on Coffee with the Wolves.
Thank you.
And next up here on Coffee with the Wolves, I'm joined by Olivia Rafalski.
Thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
First time here on Coffee with the Wolves, right?
Yeah.
You joined JJC last year. Was it mid-season? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was mid-season, right after winter break. I studied abroad my first year, so I was kind of up in the air with what I wanted to do, but
Yeah.
I knew basketball was always in my heart. So when I reached out to coach, he was more than happy to take me on. So I was super appreciative of that.
Yeah. You said you studied abroad. Where'd you go? And what did you study?
I studied business, but I went overseas for 4 months. So we went to 11 different countries, and just being able to experience all that culture, just been super thankful and like blessed to have all these different experiences.
Where'd you go?
To name a few, we went to Malta, Belgium, Malaysia, Vietnam, and I want to say we've had a few pit stops that we had to change direction of, but we ended up going to Gibraltar as well and a few others.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and just being able to study abroad and then do it in so many different countries. That sounds like an awesome experience. I was
Yeah.
not. I did not know that.
Crazy experience, but
Yeah.
very worth it.
How long have you been playing basketball, and what kind of brought you to JJC and specifically reaching out to Coach Shaun?
Yeah, I've been playing for, I want to say, oh gosh, I think I started playing in fourth grade, maybe third grade. So it's been a few years. And this kind of goes back to like that decision making. My senior year of high school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. But basketball's always been in my life, and I wasn't really sure exactly if I wanted to give that up. I wasn't really satisfied with how my senior year went. So reaching out to coach was something that was very like local. I wasn't like worried about going far at the moment because I was still unsure, and he was just very welcoming. I think one of the biggest things for me that sold me here was his coaching style. His personality is just very welcoming and understanding.
He's been my guinea pig since I've been here, and by extension, so has your team.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sean was the first one on Coffee with the Wolves when I started it at the beginning of 2024. I think women's basketball is the first one we broadcast live stream. All my silly graphics and stuff that I make. So
We
yeah.
appreciate you.
So let's talk a little bit about this season, and actually we can backtrack a little bit. How do you think you've improved from last season to this season?
I want to say last season I came in, it was hard to, coming from my position, I wasn't able to do as many things as I would like to have, like preseason. I didn't really have a shot developed either. I could shoot, but it wasn't like guaranteed going in, and neither is my shot now. But I think this past summer I've definitely developed a better shot with the help of Coach Shaun, and just being able to get in the gym every day and just getting continuous reps in. I think that has changed my game a bit. I've always been a defensive player and I enjoy it. I love crashing the boards, getting rebounds, but I think I need a little bit of offensive game to see if I want to continue growing and playing to be better.
Yeah, I know last week, because you had 3 games at home,
Yeah.
we saw you kind of on both ends a lot. And like Sean said, you're first in the country in offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah. How, I guess first thought, if you didn't know that, how does that make you feel just knowing, oh, at this point in the season, I'm leading in this stat?
As silly as it sounds, like it doesn't really faze me as much. Like I want to be like, oh my gosh, like good job, but at the same time, I know there's more to come, and so I guess my mindset's at like, let's continue this, like let's maintain at number one and continue to get rebounds because it is an important part. At least if I'm not shooting and being a major part on the offensive end, I could do something on the defensive end.
And he had a career high in scoring this past week too. Again, how do you feel? Hitting that, and do you want to keep improving on that, score more?
Yeah, for sure. Something that like coaches always mentioned is being more helpful on the offensive end and getting offensive putbacks like after my rebounds and everything. So I definitely want to maintain that and try to keep scoring as much as I can. And I think that just comes with like confidence and trying to maintain a good mindset and like knowing I could shoot. Like I've been putting in the work behind like closed doors. So I mean, just bringing that to the games is really what I'm just trying to get to.
How are you gelling with some of the younger student athletes on the team? Because it's just you and Kaya as sophomores, and
Yeah.
even then, like you said, like we've mentioned, you joined halfway through the season last year. So like Kaya is the veteran. You were also a veteran, but not.
Semi-veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a learning experience, I want to say. I feel like we have so many different personalities on the team, and just being able to understand basketball it's like an 8-month sport, I think, but like realistically it's a year-round sport. You start in summer and you just continuously play throughout the year. So being able to form like relationships with your teammates and understanding who they are and how they cope and respond to certain situations, I feel like that helps form, like for me, an ideal perspective of how I need to handle my teammates and like in that leadership role. It definitely could be hard with all the young, like you said, we have besides Kaya and I, like we're the only veterans. It is a change for a lot of the incoming freshmen because of their high school experiences. They may not have experienced anything like this, but I think it's just a learning experience. And Coach touched on it earlier. It's patience, all about patience, and just being there for them when they need it.
I want to ask. You mentioned Shaun just talking about that earlier. What's it like to be in the room when Shaun's talking about you on a
Um,
podcast? Because it's got to be a little awkward.
it can be, but it's like at the same time, I'm just like taking it as like we're having a conversation. Like we do have one-on-ones like he has one-on-ones with all of us. So it's just like anything that he says, criticism or positive, I just take it and I want to take those words and apply it to the game somehow.
Do you have any games on the schedule that you yourself have circled? Maybe something from last year against an opponent that makes you want to go into the said game this year and really kind of perform?
I don't.
Hold any grudges,
I
guess
don't
is what
hold.
I'm asking.
No grudges to be held, but yeah, no, I just think always Moraine. I feel like that is something. It's an exciting game. I feel like that's kind of like our close rivalry, or DePage. Like DePage was a good game last year as well, and just like those close knit games that we can rival against. I think it's always fun, but other than that, no.
Yeah. Obviously, the goal this year for the team is to make the postseason tournament.
Yeah.
How are you working to kind of help the team get there? I mean, we've kind of talked about it because all the things we've talked about lead to that, but.
Yeah, so I mean, on my own, you guys also kind of touched on this. Like, now's a busy time. Like for us as student athletes, everyone has so much to do outside of their lives as well, besides being in the gym or where they want to be. So I guess for me, it's just constantly working out. Coach Mo, our assistant coach, she likes to offer like workout sessions, and I haven't been able to take those up, like get as much work as I would like to because I have been very busy with school.
Yep.
But I always told myself like school's my priority right now. Like basketball, I know it's always there, but school, I need to make sure I am passing in order to get where I want to be for my future, and basketball comes along with that. So working out on my own is something I keep accountable for myself. But then next semester, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to her.
So, kind of to backtrack again, you said you studied abroad and you were studying business.
Yeah.
Is that your major here at JJC, or did you go a different route?
No, it is business, and I've been like kind of juggling. I grew up from a family of entrepreneurs, but I truly enjoy fitness and health and just learning about our bodies. So I've been kind of like figuring out if I want to go down like the kinesiology route or business, but I'm trying to figure out something I can mesh them a little both together
Yeah.
to find my ideal job, but we'll see.
Yeah. And last question, we'll wrap
Yeah.
up here. Thanksgiving next week. What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Oh, of course. Eating, spending time with my family, watching the Cowboys, and yeah, just enjoying time off, and that's all I can do.
I wish you luck in watching the Cowboys. But I appreciate you joining me for Coffee with the Wolves here, Olivia. We'll hopefully have you on again soon. And yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Next week, we're going to have men's and women's wrestling featured here in Coffee with the Wolves, I guess on Black Friday. So we'll see you then.